Welcome to the channel, guys. Finally got my sample of Creed Aventus Cologne, and I'm going to be doing a review on that today. Before we get into that though, how would you hit that like and subscribe button down below? It really helps my channel out a lot. Aventus Cologne was released this year, 2019, and is the second flanker to the ever-popular men's fragrance Aventus for Men, which was released in 2010. The other one, by the way, if you're curious, is Aventus for Her. This is designed to be a middle ground between men and women. It's supposed to be unisex, and so both men and women are supposed to be able to wear this one. The top notes on this one are ginger, mandarin, and rose. The middle notes are patchouli, Indian sandalwood, and vetiver. And the base is styrax, birch, musk, and tonka bean. Now, I will say in the initial burst of this one, the first 10-15 seconds or so, I actually smelled just Aventus. It actually has a very strong Aventus-y vibe, and even though pineapple is not a listed note, I do actually get a little bit of pineapple from this one, especially right up top, which I found to be a little bit of surprise. I also do get a little bit of the mandarin as well. It's not really strong. It is kind of a sort of sweet orange, and it is a very fresh, very nice opening overall. To my nose, I don't really get a lot of the spices, and I definitely get a lot of the musk up top. So this comes off to me as kind of a fruity, musky fragrance. Now, I will say it's a little bit different on my skin, so I tested this both on my skin and on paper just to see what the difference would be. And I don't get as much of the mandarin on my skin, and I also find that at least on my skin, this one is really musky. So the musk is very prominent on my skin, whereas it's not quite as prominent in or on the test strip. So there is quite a difference with skin chemistry on this one, especially in that opening. It's very fresh, very light, and it definitely, to me, does at least have a little bit of that Aventus DNA. And if you have had batches of Aventus or on your skin Aventus that's more musky, this definitely does, to me, give off a little bit of that vibe. So I also did test this one side by side with Aventus. I have the 18DO2 if you're interested in batch variants, and to me anyways, on my skin, I also get a lot of the muskiness with that fragrance, and so that aspect of these two is quite similar. Now, this one is getting compared a lot also to Allure Sport, which is actually, I love this fragrance. I think it's a really great sporty version of Allure and I really like the orange note in that as well. The two things I can guess to say about that is that, first of all, the orange is way more zesty and way louder in the Allure Sport. So in the Aventus Cologne, to me, it's a fresher, lighter, sweeter orange, whereas it's very zesty and almost has a bit of an orange peel vibe to it on Allure Sport. So to me, I actually don't quite get the comparison. There's, I guess, orange in both of them, but ultimately, to my nose, they do smell different, and if I actually wanted the orange note, I would pick Allure Sport, at least for me, at least for my skin chemistry, because it's a lot more prominent, it lasts a lot longer, and I do kind of like that zesty orange peel vibe that Allure Sport has going for it that Aventus Cologne does not have. Now, in the dry down of this one, a little bit more of the birch definitely comes out to play more, but it's nowhere near as prominent in Aventus. And for me, I guess Aventus, one of my favorite parts is a prominent birch note. And I really like the birchiness. Now, this is more, to me, dominated by muskiness. So it's more of a musk with hints of birch, whereas with Aventus, I get a lot more birch and a lot less musk. So there is definitely a distinct difference there. I find this to be a fresher, muskier version of Aventus in a lot of ways. It does certainly strike my nose as being similar, although after that initial burst, the composition with the muskiness and the orange does certainly take it in quite a different direction. And even when the birch does come up a little bit more, the really dominant musk in this definitely to my nose does set it apart. But nonetheless, there is definitely an Aventus DNA in there. It would be, I think, incorrect to say that it doesn't smell anything like Aventus. It certainly does. But if you like that birchiness, if you like the woodiness, and that's one of the things I find that makes it also more masculine, Aventus is definitely better. And I think in my opinion, at least I'll say now, I do prefer Aventus to this. This is a muskier, fresher version, and it does have a lot of oranginess. I also don't really get any pineapple after that initial burst. It does then become sort of fruity and more dominated by the orange. The other thing about this one is I do not get very good performance with this one, so I did try it a couple of times. I also tried this on test strips, and with test strips you do generally get longer performance than on skin, and I found that even still this doesn't really go much past the 5-hour mark. So it is one that doesn't have a lot of longevity. I do think that olfactory fatigue does play somewhat of a role, because I will say on my skin it did kind of disappear, and then I started to smell it pop up with a nice sort of fruity, musky vibe later on. So there is a little bit where, at least to my nose, it comes and goes a little bit. And actually, you know, all in all, this is one of the things I don't like about Aventus that much, is I find that it makes me go nose blind to it relatively quickly. And for me, I mean, it's nice to smell nice for other people, but I want something also that I smell and something that I can enjoy the smell of. The overall composition is nice, it's fresh. Even in the dry down, a lot of that freshness does stay, although the longevity itself is not that great. But I do still prefer Aventus, the original, over this one, because I do like the pineapple, I do like the birch a lot more than the musk. So this is kind of a fresher, muskier take on Aventus, and there you have it. That's my opinion on this one. If you haven't got your nose on this one, check it out. It is definitely worth checking out, especially if you do like Aventus and you want something that's a little bit fresher or a little bit less masculine. This is definitely something you should try out. Anyways, guys, which is your favorite Aventus? Leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.